Hello, I am Kat with Perinatal Supports, and today we're going to talk about the coordination of pushing a baby out of your pelvis if you're having a vaginal birth. So your uterus has contractions as you progress through your labor, and what those contractions are doing is slowly the muscle, your uterus is a big muscle, and so the muscle fibers of your uterus as you have contractions begin to gather towards the top of your uterus called your fundus. And so that gathering of the muscle fibers up towards the top is actually what generates the opening and the dilation of your cervix. So the muscle fibers of the uterus, as you progress through labor, begin to move their way to the top, and they create this really strong, thick part of your uterus called the fundus. And so as the fundus engages, that pushes your baby down. So that's what's happening pretty much through the progression of your labor. Then once it's time for you to actively push, you sort of join in at the last moment and you help your uterus do the last bit of work in getting your baby out of your pelvis. So as the uterus pushes down during a contraction, you are going to do two things simultaneously. One is engage your transverse abdominis, and then two, you are going to relax your pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor is a network of muscles. It goes from the pubic bone back to the tailbone. There are attachment points at the sits bones. So it really is the floor of your pelvis. That's why it's called your pelvic floor. And so if those muscles are tight and engaged, then your baby can't move through them. So we need those muscles to soften and yield and get out of the way. So we're gonna practice, we don't have the help of the uterus in this moment, that's saved something just for labor. But we're gonna practice the coordination of engaging your transverse abdominis and relaxing your pelvic floor at the same time so that you start to build some of the muscle memory of that coordination so that it's easily accessible to you when you're in labor. So rather than trying to do both of those things at the exact same time, which can be very confusing, we're going to first relax the pelvic floor and then layer in the activation of the transverse abdominis. I like to put my hands on my belly because it helps me feel what's going on. You may also want to close your eyes because that can also help you. So I'm going to talk you through it. We're going to use your breath to help you, and then hopefully this tool is something that you can practice before you really have to push out your baby. So hands can maybe go on your belly. First, you're going to let everything relax with a nice big inhale. And then as you exhale, I want you to feel that your pelvic floor drops down. And then keep the pelvic floor relaxed as you start to draw your baby in. That's the activation of the transverse abdominis. And then you can let that go. Maybe catch your breath for a second. We're going to do that again. So nice big inhale. As you exhale, try and relax the pelvic floor. And then belly starts to draw in. One more time. Nice big breath in. Exhale, relax the pelvic floor. Hug that baby in. And let that go. So I like to think about, there's this great toothpaste analogy. So you have your toothpaste tube and there's a toothpaste clip and you sort of clip the toothpaste clip onto the tube, and that helps you push the toothpaste down towards the opening. And that's what your uterus does. Your uterus is pushing your baby down towards the opening. Then when it comes time to actually get toothpaste out of the tube, you wrap your hand around the toothpaste tube and you squeeze. Just like your transverse abdominis squeezes. But if you have left the cap on your toothpaste tube, if your pelvic floor is engaged and lifting, then you can't get the toothpaste out. So we have to simultaneously wrap our hands around the tube, take the top off, and then the toothpaste comes out. So that's what we're doing. The uterus has done its job and it is still doing its job of pushing your baby down. The abdominals wrap in and then you relax the pelvic floor, and that's how you get your baby out of your pelvis. So practice this a few times between now and the big moments where you are pushing your baby out.